This is from Gallup. So the following institutions have lost significant trust with the American public, about 5 to 10% just in the last 10 or so years. Newspapers, television news, organized religion, which is one of the largest drops, the Supreme Court, the police, the military, public schools, the medical system, and big business. So that's a lot of institutions, that have lost trust and that arguably are telling a bad story that no longer connects. And, that means that people don't know who to trust. Institutions that people did trust, they'd be quoted as sources in news stories and things like that. Well, if you don't trust the newspaper and you don't trust the source, then you kind of don't know what to think. So in that sort of an environment, if they can't trust these institutions they've known for so long, how do you get them to trust a brand they haven't heard of before?
I don't think that you sort of like generate authenticity or build trust, right? The trust is something that the buyer has to give you. It's not something that you can get from them, right? We talk about earning trust, but fundamentally, that's you as a brand putting stuff out there and hoping that other people will reciprocate that. Why do all those institutions lose trust? I think it's fundamentally because people don't feel they're honest brokers. And that goes, unfortunately, to the news as well, right? They feel that they're not, being true to what they say to people, that they're not being transparent around that they're not being authentic. One of the things that companies do a lot of times that can subtly erode that is, they go to like the sort of table stakes messaging of, we're the best at this, we're the market leading at this, we're the top of this. And I think a lot of people no, this just isn't a market leading brand. And that's like one of those little signals to your point that erodes trust right out of the gates. I always think about that great campaign. I want to say was it Avis that was like, we're number 2, so we try harder. There's a lot of power to leaning into like, hey, this is who we are. We're not the number 1 brand, but like because of that, we're going to try a hell of a lot harder than everybody else. Not we're cheaper, not we're this, things they can't promise. We're trying to not tell the story necessarily that they want to tell, but we're trying to help them shape the story that is true to who they are. And I think you can refine that and mold that in a way that's really kind of compelling to the customer. But at the end of the day, it's got to be something that you're willing to stand behind, that you're willing to believe in. And I think you do that by thinking about, the development of the story as a process of uncovering as opposed to a process of creating.